Here in the Chattanooga area, Food as a Verb tells the stories of local food and its connection to our community. David Cook is co-founder and main writer of the media startup, which has launched a new offering to sample dubbed The Table.
Food as a Verb started in the fall of 2023, and Sarah and Alex and I went to all these tremendously beautiful places throughout the region, right? All these farms, all these restaurants, front of house, back of house, and we kept encountering these wildly creative people acting with such integrity and force and vision. And we built this media, Food as a Verb, around storytelling about those people and places. Over a period of time, we realized, can we do something more? It's one thing for you to read our stories, see our photography, read our words, see our design. That's foodasaverb.com. It's totally free, by the way. It's another thing for us to build and curate events where these people are in the same room together. And I think there's lots of things happening in the world right now that make it feel very difficult. It is very difficult. It also feels very difficult. And so one thing that we're trying to do at Food as a Verb is contribute to things that bring ease. Help us remember the things that connect us in a world that can feel very disconnecting. So we launched something called The Table. And The Table is part of Food as a Verb. And this is a member-based community where by belonging to The Table, you have access to all these events that we are building and hosting. And this includes farm tours, it includes dinners at different restaurants. We have a really special dinner coming up at Calliope and another one at lunch, which is up in Sewanee. It also includes access, free tickets, to our ongoing speaker series. And that's held every other month at Little Coyote.
Tell us about the next speaker in the series.
Yeah, so we have a really, really special guest coming on May the 29th. That's a Thursday, and his name's Randall Tomlinson. And he's a local farmer that a lot of people in the local agriculture community know and respect. He's been different places, but also spent most of his time at Sequatchie Cove Farm as the dairy manager. Now, we ran across Randall. We've known him for a while, but we did a story on him, probably 3 or 4 months ago. And the difficulty was you have this man who is an expert in regenerative agriculture. Regenerative agriculture is very different than conventional agriculture, and I'll speak about it briefly, but Randall, who's the pro here, can tell you more. Regenerative agriculture uses a series of processes that include daily or multiple times each day moving livestock, right? You can do it mainly with cattle, but you can do it with other animals too. So Randall's a cattle farmer, a grass farmer, who moves his livestock in a very intentional way in order to facilitate the regrowth and the healthy ecosystem within that land, right? So instead of just sort of turning cattle out on 10-acre pasture and letting them freely graze, Randall would say, we're going to create a series of paddocks that's going to move these cattle, different plots, different places, on a very regular and routine way, which is healthier for the cows, healthier for the land, healthier for the plants, and all these sort of processes, right? So he is an expert in this, right? And the one thing that he needs, he had a dairy herd of South Pole cattle, he had the knowledge and expertise, but he didn't have land, right? And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about at this Little Coyote event on May the 29th is, how do young farmers in this region have access to land? That's the one thing you need, right? How do you become a farmer without land? You can't. And where do we find land right now in Hamilton County and the regional counties, right? It's through the roof. So we have this ongoing problem where farmland's being eaten up at an alarming rate. American Farmland Trust spoken about it at length. Governor Lee mentioned it in his State of State, that we're losing 10 acres of farmland every hour in Tennessee, making Tennessee one of the most threatened states in America in terms of farmland loss.
And this was one of the top issues at the most recent session of the General Assembly.
That's right. So Randall is one person out of many affected by this, right? And so we wrote this story, how do you farm without land, right? And that's where we met him. And along the way, we realized he is so thoughtful and said some things that stopped us in our tracks. And so we want to create a space where anyone listening can come meet him and listen to him. And that's why we're having this conversation with him on May the 29th.
And for people who want more information about that, who want more information about the table, everything happening at Food as a Verb, where can they go online?
Foodasaverb.com.
All right, David, thanks so much.
Ray, thank you as always.